Welcome, everyone. I hope you're all hanging in there, staying positive, and focusing on what you can control. Thank you for joining us. This is Cafecito con Ace. I hope you have your cafecito ready to go. I know I have mine. My name is Jose Suarez, and I am the chair of the ACE Young Professional Board. If you're not familiar with ACE, it's the Hispanic Alliance for Career Enhancement. ACE's mission is to positively impact the workplace by cultivating the pipeline of Latinx talent and providing Latinos the insight, access, and support to be successful in their careers. A little bit about ACE Young's Professional Board. We are an auxiliary board for ACE, so we support ACE in its mission and vision. We help support by raising funds, by raising awareness, and overall developing the talent to bring those Latino professionals to the next level. If you want to get involved, please feel free to reach out to anybody in ACE. Feel free to reach out to myself. We are accepting applications for our board positions, which will be opening up around June. So if you want to get the jump, feel free to do so. And I wanted to just discuss, while we're on the topic of the ACE Young Professional Board, I think of all the college students who have to experience school's demand while possibly being away from home, having to pay additional bills like rent and groceries and things like that, and even possibly taking care of loved ones and family members. And now with COVID, the stakes are even higher. We know this pandemic has disproportionately affected Latinx and African American communities. So because of this, ACE has decided to focus the year-end campaign on helping first-generation college students that have been impacted by COVID-19. So we're going to get into this a little bit. We do have a special guest today, Isabel Lopez, who's going to be sharing her story. But before we get into that, I do want to just share a little bit more about ACE's fundraising goal. As you know, yesterday was Giving Tuesday. I know, Facebook, LinkedIn, everyone was reminding you, Giving Tuesday, Giving Tuesday. I am happy to say that ACE has been able to raise close to about $10,000 in funds, in funds for supporting specifically college students impacted by COVID-19. Our goal is to raise $25K before the year ends. So we are on a really good pace to do that, but we need your support. So I wanted to kind of just go over a couple of different ways that you can help support ACE. And what you can do is, number one, if you want to support and go on to the website directly, you can visit aceonline.org. So it's HACE online.org to donate. That's option one. Option two is you can text ACE Gives to 44321 and support where you can. So the text would be going ACE Gives to the number 44321, and then you can go ahead and get your donation there. We have a cool hashtag I Support ACE sticker that is going to be sent to everyone who donates, for all those that are able to help out. So today's topic will be, we are pushing our end of year campaign. We do have Isabel Lopez here that is going to be sharing her insights as far as what it is to be a college student during the time of COVID. So we have a couple of questions that we have already prepared for her. However, if you have any questions, feel free to drop them on the chat box. Feel free to drop them, and we'll be answering them live down below. Isabel's a pro at this streaming thing. I had to adapt pretty quickly, as most of you have, and I just want to send a shout out to ACE for the opportunity to host Cafecito with ACE. I'm a really big fan. I've always been, dreaming of sharing my coffee the way I like it. So thank you for the opportunity. And I know Isabel's excited as well. So let's get started. So Isabel, our first question, this is my favorite one, is how do you like your cafecito / coffee prepared?
Oh, yes, Jose, this is my favorite favorite question too. So when it's really rare when I drink coffee, but when I do, I drink it with I always drink it with coffee, obviously with coffee, but with azúcar and poquita leche. I don't like it too bitter, but I still want to be able to wake up from it,
And so leche. Now leche has taken on a whole different form, right? I remember when you had you want cream in it, it'd be one option, but now it's like whole milk, reduced milk, skim milk, oat milk, half and half. It's like all these options. I know
Yes.
when I go to Starbucks, and I'm just like, I don't know what is all going on here. So
Go ahead.
the azúcar, is it brown sugar? Is it white sugar? Is the leche regular leche? Is it special leche?
Yes. Let me break it down. So I'll usually have just regular pure sugar, and then my sister's been really getting me into almond milk. So she's been trying, she's like buying it all the time, and so I'm just like there's nothing. So now that we've gotten to a point where there's nothing but almond milk at our house, so I just put the almond milk that we have in my coffee as well with poquita azúcar.
Oh, good. Okay, so not nothing crazy. Just and
Yeah.
then the coffee itself, is it just like your regular roast? Is anything you pick up?
No. Regular roast. It's like the one that you buy at the Mexican store. And then put the scoop in there, and then put some almond milk and then some sugar.
Oh yeah. So like a Nescafe
Yes,
type.
that's cafe.
Yes.
Yeah.
Scoop, throw it in
Yep.
there, mix it up.
You
Okay,
have to boil the hot water and then you do it. That's how I
that's
make
right.
it. That's how I make it.
That's awesome. That's awesome. So thank you for sharing. I know I personally take my coffee just black. I
Oh, okay.
pretty much do. I'll do an Americano, and I know they try to load it
Oh,
up. Yeah, they load it up with the espresso shots in there,
yeah.
and then the coffee. I get the option of either 4 espresso shots or 2. I'll just do 2. Not trying to get too crazy. But ever since I became a father, without the coffee, I can't seem to function. Yeah, it gives me the pickup that I need. So thank you for sharing. And yeah, I've definitely have tried the Nescafe with the sugar and the
Yep.
almond milk.
Okay.
So I'm going to a couple of questions. I'm going to go into a couple of questions that we have prepared for you. So number one, just tell us a little bit about what you're studying and how you decided to attend the college that you're currently attending.
Yeah, of course. So I got into informatics through a pipeline that was directly built from my college to my high school. So this pipeline is called the IDO pipeline, and it stands for Informatics Diversity Enhancement Workforce. So it aims to bring diversity to the tech field through introducing students at a high school age to informatics, and then hopefully the idea is that they pursue on to go to college at my school where I go, to keep pursuing the information science field. So I actually got introduced to informatics, the coding world, everything that is with tech, through this pipeline, and I was blessed enough to take on the opportunity and receive actually a scholarship that's the LIFT scholarship, which stands for Leading Informatics for Tomorrow, and it's a group of just a lot of different scholars from all different backgrounds. That's specifically that they're all studying informatics, so they're all eventually are going to end up in our tech field, and I'm super proud to be a part of it. So it's definitely been an amazing journey, just to seeing all the people around me just studying, informatics, being able to take on their own journey with informatics and information science as a whole, because it is so diverse. Like everything, I'm assuming, like everything nowadays is just like, oh, like you have you need a UX designer, or you need someone to do data analysis, or you need someone to just straight up just code something. So it's so great to see how diverse it is and just to be a part of that.
That's great. Yeah, that's awesome that you're in that field. I know it's definitely highly underrepresented, and great to see you at the forefront of that. And one of the key advantages you have is starting at such a young, early age, knowing what you want to do, and then once you're out and about, the world's your oyster, because everything is data driven. Everything is being pushed to coding. Everything is we're all evolving into a digital platform. And now with COVID-19 especially, it's more important than ever to understand your numbers. So that's awesome. So that's interesting that you're in that field, because it's definitely something that more people are pushing into. But when I was growing up and attending college, there was definitely not something like that.
I mean,
in the works.
even when I was a kid, like I never, even when I was a kid, you thought about, oh, I'm gonna be an astronaut, or I'm gonna be a firefighter, or just those things that you see on TV, but you never consider yourself like being like a coder or being like and data now, data, like someone that's working with technology in and day out.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you saw like the hackers on portrayed in the movies, and you're like, wow, that'd be cool to
Yeah,
do, but isn't that legal? And
yeah,
now it's like,
this is the legal way to do it. This is
yeah. But now,
exactly.
yeah, legal way, getting paid for it, and so much. We're all backing you, and I believe as part of the ACE, ACE's goals and missions. I thought I read somewhere that you might have benefited from ACE's scholarship or funds in the past. Is that correct?
So I applied to a couple of scholarships that ASE just give out.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, it's definitely something that is out there and that a lot of different people, pursue. And I definitely think it's important to apply, even if you don't get scholarships, but also if you do, use that money to pursue what you want to pursue and to definitely further your education. But especially in the times of COVID, being able to really utilize the money and value in valuable ways. I know for myself, a lot of my scholarships have been able to give me the privilege of buying like a desk because I'd like never had like an actual desk to work at. So I was able to buy like a desk and really just like set myself up for success where I'm able to like be on Zoom calls and be focused and not so much doing things around the house, but more having my space to do it.
Great. And because you brought up the topic, and we were eventually going to broach on it, is with COVID-19, affecting campuses, affecting households. As a college student, what are the biggest challenges that you've seen with COVID-19 for your college career, and have you experienced any challenges that you can share with everyone, just so they can get a feel for what you're going through?
Yeah, absolutely. So it's definitely been a lot more isolated. I mean, of course, everyone is, but especially for college students, I would say like I would go to class and I'd interact and I talk to people around me, and I'm very much the
Mhm.
personable type of person that wants to get to know my peers because they are my future network. I found that so valuable. So now with everything being virtual and everything being online, it's a lot harder to do that. So you can't just casually meet someone. You have to like be intentional with what you do like everything you do, right? So if you're going to send a
Mhm.
message, you have to have a purpose behind your message. If you're going to talk to somebody, you have to have like you have to have purpose and you have to be intentional. So I definitely think it's been difficult to find the balance of like, okay, how do I, or not going back to my challenges, it's been harder to find um, time or like specific how do I say this, like like especially being at home,
Mhm.
not feeling so isolated is what I'm trying to say.
I
So
see.
yeah,
Mhm.
so
Like building, like having a network, and feeling that being inclusive of everyone else.
talking to people, like I was
Mhm.
saying, you have to be intentional. So it's not so much like casually meeting someone, you have to be intentional. So the challenges that I've faced specifically is, building that network, but
Mhm.
also just being in my home life, just like having, finding the space, being able to, not get so worn down with just being me and just being me doing my work and me just, sitting here like if I have to do some work, but I also need to go, eventually eat, go spend time with my family,
Mhm.
take care of them, like finding those times, but not feeling so isolated. It's definitely been hard because I mean, we're all in one house, you're all in one space all the time.
Mhm.
So yeah.
Yeah, it's a unique experience, definitely. I remember, when getting to college and being in campus, and you're absolutely right. You'd get to meet different folks, just stumble upon conversations. But now, everything being virtual and everybody being remote, I can imagine just such a hard challenge. Being able to connect with people,
Mhm.
and even though you're able to see them on the camera, it's still not that connection.
Yeah.
It's almost there, but it's quite not the same as
Mhm.
far as spending time with people and getting to know them. And you're absolutely right. I think you hit the nail on the head. It's about like your college time is a time to build your network, to understand who your colleagues are. That's how you really succeed in the business world, is reaching out to people that you've known from the time you're coming up to now, hey, I'm looking for a position. I noticed you're at this company. I've been trying to get into this company. So good for you for still trying to build that network, even though you're now remote and virtual. And a little bit off script, from a mental health standpoint, are there any things that you're doing as far as keeping you centered, keeping you focused, something that you can share with the audience that has helped you at all?
Yeah, for sure. I strive to go out into the world at least once a week. I aim, sometimes I don't get there, but I strive to go out once a week, to just go to the park or go do something with a friend, and of course social distance. And it's so important to not only social distance but to have human connection at some point in your week, even if it's social distancing. I think it's super important, with just like not people, like other people than just your family, because you see your family. I mean, I see my family all the time. Other people that aren't your family, I think it's super important, just so you are reminded that like there's other things, there's more out there. And there's, especially now that students are going home again and going back to, especially that students are going home again, moving back home for the break and for this period of time, and we see COVID cases uprising. It's super important to at least go out once a week and see somebody, and social distance. I can't stress it enough. Social distance, be safe, but definitely try to have some human contact, because that's, I mean, personally for me, it's crucial. I mean, just because like I miss talking to people, I miss seeing people, and it gets hard. It does get hard. So.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. And you can try as much as you want to have phone calls and the Zooms, and especially now with Thanksgiving just passing by, and encouraging folks to keep in the small quarters. It kind of brings me. You mentioned a little bit, and then one of the questions is, you spoke about your family and with Thanksgiving and getting a chance to visit your family, or being in that space where you're all in one location, and you get a chance to catch up, and not having that. Do you mind sharing a little bit about your cultural background and maybe a little bit about your educational background as well?
Yeah, of course. So for me, my parents both immigrated here from Mexico. Both of my parents are from the same place in Mexico, but they actually, funny enough, met in the Norte, as they call it, in the United States. So they're both from San Luis Potosí. So I am a first generation college student. I would be the first to graduate from college through my whole entire family. So that's including my primos, my tias, all of them. It's definitely, I'm very proud. My family is very proud of me. I would say. Well, they are proud of me. But it's definitely something to be proud of, being first. But also education background would consist of going to a small private high school called Providence Cristo Rey. It's a part of a bigger network called the Cristo Rey Network. But I'm from Providence Cristo Rey. I'm currently studying at IUPUI, which is Indianapolis University, Purdue University, Indianapolis. So I'm in my third year, and I'm, like I mentioned earlier, I'm studying informatics and specializing in applied data science. So I'm a big numbers girl. I love data, numbers, anything that has to do with math or statistics. So.
Oh, that's great. You don't really hear too much of that. There are people who are actually like drawn to numbers, and I think you and I share a lot of similarities. Like you, I'm a first generation, the first to graduate from college in my for my entire family. I'm proud to say that since then, many years ago, we've had cousins and my that have her master's degree, and so we were really proud of her. And you're a trailblazer. You're setting the paths for the future generations to come, and not only that, you're doing so in a field that not too many people are in. So you're like double whammy, right? You're trailblazing as far as getting your college education, but also in a field where if more people have opportunity there, I'm really glad to hear that you do that. Your story is similar to a lot of Latinx, college students that have been able to, by the support of their parents, to encourage them to go to college and set the path for them to be able to not only attend, but I think you're doing great, and you've got a bright future. And the fact that, you touched on it, the scholarships, seeing what free money is out there, seeing what people can offer. I know, it's crucial.
Free money, come on.
Yeah,
Write some essays, do what you got to do. Like, you got it. Like, free money is important. It's really important, and it's valuable. It's really valuable.
Yeah, exactly. And one of the things that, from your perspective and talking to other college students, is there something that maybe we're not thinking about during the coronavirus that college students are going through that maybe the public's not aware of? I know I've been out of, the college life for so long that, you're in the prime position to share those insights with us. Is there anything that minds?
You touched on it a little bit earlier. I was going to bring up for this question, just mental health in general, just being able to just, if you know a college student, I would definitely say reach out to them, see how they're doing, see if they need any resources. Because I think that in this time specifically, we're trying to get, me as a college student, I'm trying to, get an education and sometimes that can feel, like I was talking about earlier, really isolated. So like just me and my work and just whatever I'm doing just to get my education. So I definitely say check in, I'd say, on any college student yet you may know. Simple text, simple call would definitely go a long way. I definitely would say, just because, like I was saying, it can feel lonely at times, and it's definitely important to just make sure college students have any resources they may need, whether that being, like they can't, like simple, like just like a desk, like I was talking about earlier. Like I didn't have a desk coming into COVID, so it just simple things as that, like where you think like, oh, everyone has a desk. That may not be the case. Somewhere like that, where you're able to give them somewhere that it's be able to be their own, and able to help them succeed in the long term.
Yeah, that's great. That's great advice. That's great insight. I didn't realize how isolated it must feel, to go from, typically being in a campus area to now, just being isolated, working on your classroom, your curriculum, in your home, and not really venturing out anymore. And the resources that you touched on, no one would have thought that, come March, that you were going to be spending your time at home. So, makeshift desk, makeshift workspaces. I've seen it all. We're Latino, so we're gonna keep going. We're gonna persevere. We're gonna be resilient. So I feel like we were in a good position for COVID. We have the right. So thank you for sharing. I do see that we have a couple questions from the audience. So we'll take a couple minutes and let's see. Our first question is, do the student clubs on your campus still have regular meetings? Or are students holding study groups?
Oh, this is a good question. So students are still having clubs on campus. Not as far as meeting regularly. I'm not necessarily part of any clubs on campus personally, but I know a lot of my peers are. So yes, they're still meeting clubs regularly where it is through Zoom, and these clubs are really focusing on trying to keep that like interaction. We play. I know I've for the Latino Association in my school. I follow them on Facebook, and a lot of the times I'll see them posting things like, oh, come hang out with us, like on Among Us, come play Among Us with us, or come play this like virtual games where you're able to still keep engaged with people, but also having some type of fun that is associated with it. So groups are still meeting regularly, but it definitely is dependent on the type of group, how invested their members are, just a lot of factors going into that. And then are holding study groups. This semester have been a part of a couple study groups virtually, and not necessarily in person, of course. But we really personally, I've really tried to keep engaged with my peers and just really try to not only help them out in ways that they may not be getting, that may not be able to get somewhere else, but also being very intentional with making those connections.
Oh, great. Thank you for sharing. I think we have time for one more question, if we have it. Otherwise, I do have a question for you to wrap up the Cafecito here. So we have to do. So we'll go with our final question here before we wrap up. Do you recommend a place to apply for scholarships for the Latinx community? My son and daughter are both in high school in dual language GT programs. Thanks. This is from Paul D.
I'm not familiar with what GT is.
Dual language
Do you know-
GT programs.
I'm not sure. So personally, for me, I'm in Indianapolis, so I know there's an organization called the Indiana Latino Institute. So I actually have a couple of scholarships that are through them, where I've actually applied and gotten. I think it's like a couple. I'm not sure how the amount, but I know they have a couple. As far as like a centralized location where you can find like a scholar, like a centralized location, I really would just like say just be how do I say, just be very just keep looking online, I would say, very much like Google like Latino scholarships, or there, I know some cultures have, or some scholarships, I've seen so many scholarships, but I've also seen some scholarship where it's like you have to be this, this ethnicity, or like this specific like background, like Salvadorian or like Colombian. So it's definitely a lot of different scholarships out there for the Latino community. It's just a matter of putting in the work, finding them, and applying. I would say is definitely it's really important, because like you, out of the 10 scholarships you may apply for, like how many other people are applying for those scholarships? So it's definitely a matter of keeping that in mind and saying like, okay, I may not get this one, but I may get this one. So it's definitely about keeping that in mind.
Great, thank you for sharing, Isabel. So our last question before we wrap up, we have come to the time. Either what are you hopeful for? Or a positive story that you have. What are you hopeful for the upcoming year, or a positive story that you have to share?
Yes. Personally, for me, I'm just really hopeful for my graduation. I'm looking so forward to that. Just graduating, making my family proud, I think is definitely something I've been so looking forward to. So as when COVID hit, I was like, it was definitely got harder. I'm not going to say it didn't. Especially being a college student, being first generation, not knowing a lot of things, it got hard. But I'd say just keeping myself motivated by knowing that my graduation is ahead, my diploma is waiting for me. Like I'm almost there. So yeah, that's what I'm hoping for.
That's great. Yeah, and we're all going to be there supporting you when it happens. You got a bright future. You're on the right track, and then we always think of all those that are behind us, pushing us, supporting us, and rooting for us to do it. I remember when it was my graduation, we were in my dad's pickup truck, and we brought the whole family down there, and it was like a big deal, to graduate, and it felt real special. So whether it's done in person or virtually, just know that everyone will be proud of you for all your accomplishments. So thank you for sharing. I will end on a positive note. I just want to say again, we are at about $10,000 raised. So we're almost there to our goal of $25K for the end of the year. Again, we've got great stories. Isabel is just one of few of the many college students that have struggled with COVID, that have benefited directly from HACE, from the scholarships, from the funds that are raised. So know that your money is being put to good use, and investing in our future. So with that being said, I want to wish everyone, a great rest of the week, very productive week. And in the words of the great Walter Mercado, amor y paz. Take care. Thank you much, Isabel.
Yeah.
Take care, everyone.